We're at the Walker Arts Center for a Regis dialogue with Léos Carax, the acclaimed French director whose work includes Boy Meets Girl, Mauvais Sang or Bad Blood, Lovers on the Bridge, and Paula X, his new film. My name is Kent Jones. I'm the Associate Director of Programming at the Film Society of Lincoln Center in New York and a film critic, and I'll be talking with Léos about his work tonight. So please join us for this Regis dialogue. Hi, Léos. I guess that the best place to start is to just talk a little bit about Sans Titre and, well, how you came to make the choices that you did for the film to assemble those particular clips.
So it was I was supposed to shoot my last film, Carax, and we didn't have the money, and so we had to wait. And in the meanwhile, the Cannes Festival proposed that, and I thought it could be a way to get money to start the film. So we shot 2 sequences that would be included in the film that we shot a few months. We started to shoot that summer, a few months after Cannes Festival. It was improvised, short, since it had to be addressed to the festival. I started with the steps, and that brought me to this image. One of my favorite films is The Crowd by King Vidor, and this image of this child going up the stairs and finding out he lost his
That his father's dead.
That his father's dead. And it was all improvised after that. I was an actor in a film in Lithuania. I had taken the camera there and to shoot some little piece of things that are included too. And
the film in Lithuania is The House by Šarūnas Bartas, who appears in Paula X.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was, in a way, it's a kind of prologue to Carax.
But it also seems, even though it's meant as a commemoration of Cannes, that it also seems to express, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of your, maybe not your feelings about the cinema, but your feelings about the emotion that the cinema can contain.
Maybe because I hadn't seen a camera for 7 years and it was maybe the only good experience of filmmaking was this. I mean, this little film.
The only good experience of filming
I had.
That you've had.
Indeed. It was abstract. There was no pressure on me, too much pressure. And it was pretty much editing, which is the only part I like the best about the work. So it was trying to go back to why do I need cinema, or why am I so grateful that cinema exists. I was very grateful when I discovered cinema at 17. It was like waking up one day and finding there was a land for me. But then I got angry at cinema, or disgusted with it, or my own cinema, and I started making films. And by coming back, by making this little film, I wanted to find that beauty again of cinema, of like being an orphan in the dark and watching someone's images.
And Ned of the Hunter, which is another film that's in your clips from the film Ned of the Hunter by Charles Laughton that are included in Sans Titre, I know has been a very important film to you in the past too.
Yeah, it's and most filmmakers would say it's like an important film to them, probably because of this orphan feeling about it. These two, this brother and this sister. And I was going to make a film about, in a way, a brother and a sister. And were orphans and in the night. So that was like almost the primitive scene of the film of cinema.
Which is a kind of a feeling that's directly connected to cinema for you, the feeling of being an orphan, of being lost and finding.
Yes, it's not. Sometimes it's terrifying to be an orphan, but it's also freedom. It's a heavy freedom, but it's. I mean, I wished I was an orphan when I was younger, many times, and many children do.
Yeah.
And in a way, Carax is about that. It's about our origin. It's about we think we come from a man and a woman, but then we grow up, we find out we come from much more history than that, much darker things, and way. And so it was all trying to put all that in 8 minutes.
And when you said that when you were 17, you found cinema. What was cinema to you before that? You must have gone to the movies when you were a child.
Before that, mostly cinema was mostly actresses and Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
I never really thought that someone made films.
And when did you first have the experience of understanding that a film was something that was made? Was there a particular movie that you remember seeing?
Yeah, it took a little, maybe it started a little, when I was 12 or 13, I remember there was a fighting match, boxing, in America between Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and Frazier. I don't know how to call it.
Joe Frazier.
And it was, for the first time, it was going to be live on French TV. But because of the time difference, it was at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I took my mother's television in my room and put the clock and watched it, but and after that I kept this television for like a week. And I saw a film by Robert Bresson, late one night, Les Dames du Bois de Boulogne. And that obviously was made by someone. It's not. So that's the first time I remember that feeling of there's a man behind the camera.
And you picked up a camera for the first time a couple years later, when you were 19?
17, I bought a camera, a 16mm camera, and started to try to make a short film. Yeah.
Which was aborted.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a fire in a Chinese restaurant? Was that?
Yeah, I had a few mistakes.
Yeah.
And then I made another short 2 years, or 1 year or 2 years later that I finished.
And you wrote a little bit of film criticism in between time, before your first feature.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah.
It was a way to see more movies and to go to festivals and.
And when did Boy Meets Girl begin to take shape?
I had written a script. I stopped school at 16, and then I had a whole year where my sisters and my mother weren't at home, so I had the house to myself, and I was working. I bought this little camera, and I wrote a script. It was called Déjà Vu, and but they wouldn't give me the money. In France, there's a thing called l'avance sur recette, where you get money from the state for first films or for different films that aren't too commercial. but I was too young. You have to, so they didn't give me the money. They said we would give you money for a short film.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a short film, and after that, I met the actress of the first film, Boy Meets Girl, and I decided to rewrite this déjà vu story for her. So I rewrote it, and it changed pretty much, and then that was Boy Meets Girl.
And it's Mireille Perrier. And that was your first film?
Her first film?
Yeah.
She had no second. Oh. She did a small thing before.
Mm-hmm. And how did you meet Denis Lavant?
Oh, so I was looking for the main part for Boy Meets Girl, and I saw a lot of boys, musicians and actors and just young boys. And he was in I was at an unemployment agency, and he was in the files, and that's how I chose the picture and I met him.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we go to the first clip now from Boy Meets Girl, which is Leos' first film. When I watch Boy Meets Girl now, I wonder if maybe it's incorrect to say that it's the film of yours where I feel like you're really trying to recreate or create personal sensations that you experienced when you were younger, of being alone, of walking. It's been Denis Lavant's relationship to people, the way that he's listening to the David Bowie song on the headphones.
First film is probably the only film that you prepare for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
As I said, discovering that there was a way of living and earning money, like making films, was a miracle. And at the time, I think it was the camera would be a way, an instrument to relate first to girls and then to the world. Mm-hmm. So I don't really remember. That was 18 years ago I started this film, but it was pretty much made for Mireille. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, probably too much to show how grateful I was to cinema and to the people who had made cinema, who were dead by now. But most filmmakers, I used to go see a lot of silent films. Mm-hmm. So it was a mixture of that and of my experience as a young man, and I had just arrived in Paris, and my experience of the city.
But when you say too much indebted to the filmmakers of the past, what do you mean?
I think most filmmakers discover film, then go to school and work on other people's films and then make a film. But I discovered film at the same time I made films. Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I didn't have any distance. So these two first films, this short film before that, this film, and the next film, Mauvais Sang, Bad Blood, were very much like a debt. I felt I owed to these mostly dead filmmakers from the past, and a few alive ones too.
Who are the filmmakers that you're thinking of, if I can ask?
Oh, so many, because Um, uh, if you look at film history, there are so many beautiful films and incredible filmmakers. Maybe not so much today, but at least in the 61st years.
Mm-hmm. I know that we were talking before about how important King Vidor is to you.
Yeah, well, because he's both a great filmmaker and for some intimate reasons, I feel that I would have liked to make a few of his films. Or like I would say, they were made for me. Like if you read a book, sometimes once or twice in your life, you feel this book is my brother or my sister, or it was written for me, even if it was written 300 years ago. Well, I felt that with King Vidor's films, mostly the crowd.
Yeah, which is the film that we just saw and clipped in Sans Titre, the shot of the boy going up the staircase to find out that his father's died. And the film that, there's something about actually the imagery in this particular scene that seems very linked to silent film, in the way that it relates back and forth between Denis Lavant and Mireille Perrier as she's dancing. And I know there's another element in the scene. David Bowie was very important to you when you were younger, too.
Well, the thing is, I stopped listening to music when I started to get interested in films, mostly in first years. And so when I wanted a song, I went back to when I was, what I would listen to when I was 12 or 13. And it was, I liked David Bowie, so he's there in the 2 or 3 first films.
And you, I think, once said that you don't really enjoy going back and looking at your older films.
I've never done it. It's
Is it difficult, or?
When you finish a film, there's something strange, which is, for me, there's both a huge disappointment of yourself and almost a kind of disgust for the process and for filmmaking and for your own film, but also I tend to not like films after I make a film. I don't go to the movies for a while. And at the same time, there's something pretentious, like an intuition that the film exists, that it's not any film, or it's not something. It has its importance.
It doesn't need you anymore, or it exists separately from you.
Yeah, but it's it's a. But when it happens that I see an image or something, for some reason I see, and then I go back to the disappointment and everything. So I rather keep an abstract idea that these are beautiful films.
There's I just wanted to draw a little bit of attention to. I know that you had one living filmmaker with whom you had a friendship or at least a kinship, was Philippe Garrel, and I wonder if I see traces of his work or maybe of his presence a little bit in this film, in Boy Meets Girl.
There was not a friendship. He was one of the 2 or 3 directors I met in my life. And I acted in one of his films, and he wanted me to be an actor in a few others. And he made great films when he started making films at 15 years old, in the 60s. So probably.
Most people, Philippe Garrel's not that well known in the United States, but he's a genuinely great filmmaker. His most recent film is with Catherine Deneuve and Xavier Beauvoir, called Night Wind, or Le Vent de la Nuit. but his work isn't that well known here, but he's really pretty extraordinary. Why don't we go to the next clip, which is also from Boy Meets Girl, which is the party scene. Was the decision to shoot Boy Meets Girl in black and white another way of paying tribute to an older form of cinema or to older filmmakers?
Yeah, probably do. I think when you start to make films, there's a little, it's good and bad, but you want to make something different.
Mm-hmm.
And black and white at the time, I mean, it's worse now, but black and white was hard to do, and it was more expensive than doing color because the labs didn't do it anymore. But it was bad, and it was too because I had never made a film. I felt that if I made it in black and white, there would be less. People wouldn't see the mistakes. Yeah. I was afraid of color.
Why? Why would people not be able to see the mistakes in black and white?
Because they were not used to black and white anymore, and that's always. I have a tendency to like to shoot in sets rather than real decor.
Yes.
And I'd rather shoot at night than in the daytime too, because then at night night is like a studio in itself. You light what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have all that reality that jumps at you, and if there are cars that are going by and you don't want to see them, you just don't lit them. So I knew that by doing it in black and white, I could really, since it was a very low budget film too, and I wanted to give my sense of Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that by doing it in black and white, I could shape the city and the faces much more, with less money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, less money while we were shooting.
And when you say that you prefer to shoot on sets, is that because of the aspect of privacy? It allows you a little bit of distance to think?
Maybe I'm not very good with reality. I try to go back to reality, but if it's already there, I feel I have nothing. It's like I'm on an employment, it doesn't need me.
Mm-hmm.
The camera doesn't need the camera to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like. I think cinema is a question of choice. It's always choosing something, always, all the time. It's like, and by doing it in studio, you have no choice. I mean, you have to choose the color of everything and the shape of everything, and it becomes much more. I don't know.
And how did you work with on the visual scheme of the film with your cinematographer, Jean-Yves Escoffier? And I just want to say that this was Leos's first 3 films were made with the same cinematographer and the same actor, Didier Lavant. Also, in each of these 3 films, he has the same name. His character has the same name, Alex Oscar, right?
Alex.
Oh, Alex. Okay.
I met Jean-Yves Escoffier for this. I mean, I was looking for a director of photography, and he was young. he had just made one feature film, I think. So I was very lucky to meet him. I mean, actually, I was very lucky when I was 20, 22 years old to meet all these people with whom I worked for 10 years. Jean-Yves Escoffier, this actor, Denis Lavant, and my producer, who made these 3 films with me, these 3 first films. And Jean-Yves became like a brother. I mean, we spent 10 years almost seeing each other every day and making these 3 films. And we would work 1 or 2 years ahead of each film, simply seeing each other, taking pictures and looking at pictures, looking at paintings and looking at films and talking.
Mm-hmm. Do you look at paintings a lot before, when you're planning a film?
Because I know nothing about painting, I don't need to see, I mean, I should probably see more, but I don't need to see, like one painting can be enough for one film or one painter. That someone, I mean, I don't go to museums, so it's someone who offers me a book, or I find a book someplace, or it helps in an obscure way.
Mm-hmm. How did Mauvais Sang or Bad Blood take shape?
I knew I wanted to work again with the same actor because I felt in this film, in Boy Meets Girl, I thought it didn't move well, the film, and I thought he was both like a sculptor and at the same time like a dancer. Mm-hmm. So I wanted a film in which he could run and dance and move. And each one of these 3 films in the 80s, I made for a woman, either to meet a woman or someone I was with. Mm-hmm. So that was, the second film was Juliette Binoche and Denis. And I don't like to write scripts. I don't write scripts, actually. I wait, I have vague ideas and I wait until at one point I think, okay, I know how the film is gonna move, and I have to put it on paper to get a budget, to get money. Mm-hmm. But actually these first films, I didn't write them. I taped myself saying something and I gave it to someone who would write it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would write all the dialogue and everything, but just what I mean is the script itself to get the money, I didn't write. And this I stole the idea of the second film from an American film, but that nobody's seen, so it was a Raoul Welch film, which already has a young boy and a very young boy and an older couple, and the older man needs the young boy to save his life, and the young boy falls in love with the woman. There was already that triangle. And
which film is that?
It's called Salty O'Rourke.
Salty O'Rourke, and with Alan Ladd. Yep.
You saw it?
Yeah. It's hard to see.
I hope.
It's still hard to see, don't worry. Yeah. So then why don't we go to the first clip from Mauvais Sang, or Bad Blood. There's a a way that Juliette Binoche is filmed in this scene, and that Mireille Perrier is filmed in Boy Meets Girl, that seems so close to silent cinema, to the way that Lillian Gish or Mae Marsh or Paula Negri was filmed. And is it something that you, do they have faces that specifically remind you of silent cinema?
Probably both ways. I loved Lillian Gish very much. And as I say, I mean, it's hard. That's what I meant by saying these films are maybe too close from my discovering film. But I mean, that's the way it happened.
But it's an unusual, it's not, it's noteworthy because it's not something that one sees in films very much anymore. There's a different relationship with the human face, I think, and with bodies in most films. It's something that's past, that used to be in silent films, but you do see it, and I think maybe not just in these two films, but in your other two films also. Maybe you think I'm...
Maybe something changed after this film, which is after this film, these two first films I made without really knowing what I was doing. And after that film, there was the disappointment got quite big, so I started to wonder if I could go on making films, and I didn't feel in this film. I think I felt cinema was getting too comfortable. I was, or the camera was getting to be something not a challenge enough, and that I wasn't taking risks anymore. So, because I knew, because the film had a kind of beauty, and I was very much in love with this face of Juliette. So it took time before I moved on from this. And after this film, I think I've always put myself, I haven't made many films, but I've always tried to put myself in a kind of chaos where I wasn't know what was happening. And I wouldn't have the comfort of cinema, being a nice father over my shoulder and helping me.
It's a way of trying to rediscover cinema or your relationship to cinema?
Well, it happens that way. It wasn't a very conscious move, but it happens that I cannot, since that I haven't been able to make a film if I think I know what I can do. I have to be in a situation where there's only one way I can go, and I have no choice. It's not like I'm saying this would be better here, and this was very choreographed film in terms of light, angles, colors, the direction of actors.
Yeah.
The lenses were long. I don't know how to say long lenses. I mean, it means that
lenses of long focal length.
The focus had to be very precise. So everything was, I think, too controlled. I think control is very few people can control what it. Actually, we call that masters, people who can control. Hitchcock could control a film from A to Z. But if you're not Hitchcock, or if you're not Dreyer, or if you're not Chaplin, you've got to find a way to put yourself in a position, an interesting position, if possible, where you don't have the choice anymore. You do what you can and not what you want, because I think it's like painters. Some painters can work on every detail of a painting, and it's going to be great. But if a less good painter tries to be that conscious and that control, it's going to be very boring.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that maybe there's too much, that control is too much of a goal in movies now? For young filmmakers who are just starting?
But now, you know, people, I mean, we don't need filmmakers anymore to make films. I mean, everybody knows a crew can make a film by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And actually most films are made like that.
Yeah. It's true.
And people have, today I've seen so much more images than even me, or so much more images than my father or my grandfather. Mm. And these images are not only films, of course, they're TV things, and they're the news, they're commercials, they're video clips. And so, you know, all you need to make a film is to see one film in your life, and you know, if it's a good one, you kind of have a good lesson. If it's a bad one, you have a bad lesson. But so everybody can make a film, and a lot of people do. And yeah, I mean, you never see a film today, you very rarely see a film today where you say it's badly done. Mm-hmm. It can be shit, but it's well done usually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think you said once before that mastery is not something to aspire to in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're lucky to be a master, one of the few you are, and then if you're not, you do what you can.
Yeah. So then let's go to this sequence, and we can decide if it's masterful or not. Also from Mauvais Sang, or Bad Blood. That's a very joyful sequence, and it looks like it was a joy to film.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually don't, how do you say, cadrer?
Plan.
Cadrer.
Okay.
No, cadrer.
Plan to storyboard or plan?
No, I usually don't hold the camera.
Hold the camera.
I don't know.
You mean to move it?
I don't, it's Jean-Yves who would...
He operates the camera, you don't operate the camera yourself. Yeah.
But on one, we couldn't do many because the actor would get tired, but on one of the takes I operated the camera, and I like, there's two ways to move the camera. There's one way which is with a stick, you move it, or there's one way which manivelle. Manivelle. You know,
to turn it on a dollar.
You have one to go up and down and one to go left and right.
To pan or to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I had never done it, of course, and it needs coordination because I'm not coordinated. So I decided I would try. But I didn't tell the actor because he would be upset if someone who didn't. So this is the take I kept, and I liked it because at one point I almost lose him and then I catch him back. And it was a good night. But these films are all about, I made 3 films that are all about boy meets girl. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, they're all about a young man who is kind of closed.
Introverted. Yeah.
And then he meets a girl, and sometimes he only meets an image of a girl or the voice of a girl. But he opens up, or he's hoping through the relation he's going to open up to the world, and he tries to. In each film, he tries to escape gravity. By dancing, or in this film there's a parachute scene, and the thing is always too heavy. He never really is able to escape gravity.
But then at the end of the film, Julia Binoche almost is, right?
Yeah,
when she's
girl
running.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to make a dancing film. I mean, a film where I'd like to make a film, all dance film.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you once have an idea of shooting a film in zero gravity?
Yes. It was a remake. I wanted to this film, this great film by Liam McCarey called in English it's called
Love Affair?
Love Affair to Remember.
It's Love Affair, or there are two films, Love Affair and An Affair to Remember. Yeah.
An Affair to Remember.
Yeah.
So it's with Cary Grant and Ewan.
No, Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr.
Mm. So I wanted to do the same film. There were two, how do you say, astronauts.
Yeah.
Going to the moon, a woman and a man, and they were both married, and they go there and they get on the moon and they fall in love. And of course on the trip back they're supposed to go back to their lovers, to their husband and wife. So it was like the film, if you've seen the film, they say we'll meet in 6 months at the Empire State Building, etc. But anyway, there was no producer to pay for the
trip to the moon.
For the trip to the moon, or for the location scouting.
And then after Mauvais Song, you said that you took some time to rethink things and...
No, it's not, actually it's not to rethink it.
Yeah.
It's just it happened that...
Yeah.
As much as Mauvais Song had been controlled and it was all made in sets,
Mm-hmm.
then I decided I would make a film outdoor about people who didn't have, telephones and doors and faxes and beds. And it would be, you should be able to feel the skin and the fatigue of the people, the hunger, the air, but mostly about people who had nothing and to try to have a relationship.
Mm-hmm. And was it a long writing process or a long thinking process of?
No. I had thought of it since I had gotten to Paris, because the first thing when you get to a big city is, especially a big rich city like Paris or New York, maybe here, I don't know, is you have homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And since I got into the city when I was 17, and at the time I didn't talk to people, I didn't relate to people, and I didn't know anybody anyway in the city, so the only exchanges I had, not verbal, but sometimes through the eyes, were with homeless people. And I knew I could not make a real film about homeless people, because I'm not one, and it would take me a lot of time to... That's why I could never make a documentary, even though I'm interested in that, because it would take me 20 years before I could do any documentary just to experience the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not make that, but I could talk about our misery, not just the lack of money, but the misery of man.
Mm-hmm.
I felt I could do that, so that was the next film.
But you decided to make it outdoors, but you did make it on a set.
Yes, because it's called Les Amants du Pont Neuf, and the Pont Neuf is a central bridge in Paris. It's the oldest bridge. It's called the New Bridge, but it's the oldest. And same thing, I mean, it's not the moon, but they wouldn't let us have that bridge for the few months I needed it.
Yeah.
So we had to rebuild the whole bridge and neighborhood in the country,
Mm-hmm.
in the south of France.
And it was a long shoot. It was a lengthy shoot.
Yeah, it was a catastrophe. Took like 3 years to make it. and a few producers.
But well worth it, I think. Let's go to the first clip from Les Amants du Pont Neuf, or as it's known here, Lovers on the Bridge. There's something that you were saying before about when you made Les Amants du Pont Neuf that you wanted to feel the skin of the actors and the I think it's a film where you really feel the weight of the actors and the weight of things on the screen, the texture of the bridge and water.
Well, because I've had problems because my shootings are always long. This one is, of course, the longest. And sometimes the actor comes in sequence, and when he comes out, he's 3 years older, you know.
Yeah.
And actually in the film before, sometimes he comes in, and when he comes out, he's 30 pounds heavier. But sometimes it's because of production problems. But at the same time, if you want life to get into a film, it takes time because, you know, actors prepare a film so much like fighters and like athletes, and for the 2 first months they know too much what they're doing and stuff. I think the 2 first months should be thrown away. You should only go on working after that. But
use them for rehearsal or so that the actors can get their habits out of their system.
yes, because I tend to choose the actors way ahead, because I cannot know what film to do unless I know for who, with who. And I try, the only work I do with actors is choosing them and then trying to put them in a kind of corridor where they can't escape the film when the film shooting starts. But they have ways in the beginning, and because of fear, and they have, and same for me, I secure the beginning of a shooting. You know, so it takes, I think if you shoot longer, then you can't control that much. Life gets into it. People think I shoot long to control things better.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's the contrary.
Mm. And with this particular film, I'm wondering if there must have been a very organic kind of growth in the relationship with the actors as the shooting progressed. It feels, particularly with Denis Lavant, I always think the character seems to be really at one with his character in the movie.
Yeah, that's right. It was, in that sense, it was very hard because we did not. It's not that we shot for 3 years, of course.
Right.
We shot mostly like a summer, then no more money, then a summer, no more money, and then a summer until the end of the shoot.
Yeah.
And the stops were very bad for both actors. I mean, for everyone, but mainly for both of them.
Mm-hmm. But did it force them into a different kind of rhythm that they wouldn't have had? Did it make the film?
Well, actually, I almost redid all the film at the last shooting. I mean,
Yeah.
what we had done first was too fabricated. It was not good, very good.
Yeah.
I kept some things, but it's only at the last shooting they were so lost. We were also lost that something happened that made it maybe better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go now to the second clip from Les Amants du Pont Neuf, Lovers on the Bridge. I've always found that a really powerful sequence and a very mysterious one too, and I was just wondering if you could talk about it a little bit and where it came from.
remember the actress Juliette Binoche, before she started to be an actress, painted a lot. But when I met her, she was already a young actress, and she had stopped painting. After Bad Blood, when I thought I would make another film with both of them, I thought I wanted her to go back to painting, so I thought I had to write a part where she paints. And she did go, I mean, for at least for 3-4 years, she went, before and during the film, she went back to painting. And actually, for the first time, I went to a museum. She took me to the Louvre, and we looked at these Rembrandt self-portraits, and it's quite amazing. I thought it was quite amazing that this young girl, centuries after, would look at this old man, what he saw of himself. And she knows them well. She knows them. And so when I saw her look at these paintings, I thought it's interesting. I always like, from the beginning, even when I was younger, when I made my first film, I try to show people of all ages. And all my films are babies, they're old people, and the characters sometimes act like babies or like old people. And in the same way, I thought it was kind of beautiful that a young woman today could stay in front of a painting of an old man that was meant, and it could tell us something about life and about aging and about one's own image. It happens in the film that she's losing her sight.
Yes.
So it has another meaning too, but that's how it started.
So the painting would speak to her, and tell her story of the old man. I think that right now what we'll do is we'll go directly into a clip from Leos's latest film, which is Pola X. Just to give a little bit of background, Pola X is based on a Herman Melville novel that's somewhat known in America called Pierre or the Ambiguities. And Leos, you've referred to it as your first film alone, so to speak, and I believe you've also referred to it as your first narrative film. I was wondering if you could clarify that.
By alone, I didn't mean, of course I made it with a crew and with actors. They were good. But as I said, I was lucky when I was young. When I started to meet all these people with whom I would work for 10 years. After Les Amants du Pont-Neuf, Lovers on the Bridge, I stopped making films. I mean, these people, it was a difficult film to make. So it was pretty violent, and people separated. My assistant died, the producer of my 3 films died after the film, and I started making films for a few years, and when I thought I could maybe go back to making a film, I had to find new people. I didn't want to go back. And I did meet new people, but of course it was not the same experience, and in a way it was good. I mean, what I mean by being alone is not doing the film for someone, and not sharing so much the experience with other people. In my first narrative film, actually, I say that each time I make a film. It's just I don't think I'm a storyteller, but I am interested in storytelling, and because I had the book by Melville, and I think he had an interesting problem too with storytelling, which I don't call a problem, but it's a problem. I mean, he sold 200 copies of this book. You know?
Yeah.
But I always try to, I mean, I think I do tell a story. It's just most people don't see it.
I know that before you made Paula X, during that time when you weren't making films, you had made several trips to Bosnia and during the war, and I wonder if that had an effect on the film, if that played a part in the film.
Well, in every project starts with a coincidence, at least one coincidence. And the thing is, I had read this book when I was 19, and it's probably the most important book I've read, most important for me. And I reread it a few times, but I thought it was taboo to try to adapt a good book. I mean, a great book, actually. That if you wanted to adapt a book, you should take a minor book or a lousy book. But since I had stopped making films and I didn't know if I would go back to it, when I felt the strength to come back to filmmaking, I felt I had no more taboo. I mean, there was nothing I could do, not what I wanted, but there was nothing I should not do. And I thought this is maybe time to do this book in a way, and I don't adapt the book. I try to adapt the sensations and the questions that I was left with after reading the book. But then I thought I cannot make it because I will never find Pierre and Isabelle, the two main characters, the brother and the sister. And the first time I felt I could maybe do it is when I saw the face of this Russian actress. I saw her face on a screen in Germany for 10 seconds.
Katerina Golubova.
Yes. And what was the question? I don't remember the question.
Oh, about your trips to Bosnia.
Oh, and so then I did research to know who was this face, where it came from, and it came from a film, a Lithuanian film. I got a print in Paris. I saw the film. I actually liked the film, and the actress. Met her, and I thought I had Isabelle. But Isabelle, she's Russian. I mean, it wasn't meant to be. And but then there was this war going on in Bosnia, and I had to go there I had been invited in the beginning of the war to show my films, and I was sick, I couldn't go. So when I could go, I went. And I went actually for just to talk with students, film and theater students. I think it was in 93, 94, during the war. And I went for 5 days, but I stayed finally 2 months. And then I went back and back. And I thought I have this actress who's from the East. There's this war going on. I thought this is how the film should start. With this, even if you don't see the war, you do. Coming back from one of these trips, I had that dream that you see in the beginning that you saw.
In Son Titre.
In the short film,
yeah.
Yes.
And it's the opening of Paula X also.
Which is because these wars today are both modern wars and both medieval wars. there's so much hate that it's not enough to kill people. They try to kill the dead. And actually, the first things they do in these wars is to bomb the memory, bomb museums, bomb archives. You say.
Archives.
Yeah, people won't have papers anymore, no identities, and bomb cemeteries. And I thought, I had that dream with all these planes would bomb cemeteries, and I thought Isabelle could, since she's a creature in the film, you don't know if she's a real person, or she could like come out of one of these graves and move towards the camera, like in a Abel Gance film,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where the phantom, the ghosts of the war come living again.
Mm-hmm. Is it like in the film J'accuse?
Yeah.
Yeah, by Abel Gance.
So that was the beginning of the idea of the film.
Mm-hmm. Maybe at this point this would be a good time to open up for questions from the audience. Anybody out there have any? Yes?
I'm just curious, actually, how you got Scott Walker to score all that. I was surprised, and I heard a little bit from the cockfighter at the beginning, and I recognized that. I thought it was really appropriate to be somebody that I like quite a bit, and that I see similarities in his music and films. At least kind of an emotional level for me. Did you approach him, in other words, or did he?
I faxed him, and he answered.
Not that reclusive.
I had never worked with a composer before. I always wanted to. But each film I would meet composers, and I was terrified at the idea of they would make music and it would be so expensive. I could not, if I didn't like it, what would I do with all this music? So I finally put music from records in my 3 first films. And then I heard his last record, Tilt. And when he had seen my films, and when I met him, I could see that it would be no problem to say I don't like this, or to try to make the music together, even though I wish I was a composer, but I'm not. And so same thing, I worked with him like a year and a half before, and slowly we went towards the film, and while I was editing, we were still working. So it was a very good experience.
You had ideas for musical themes before you started shooting?
Yes.
Yeah. Next. Yes?
I guess I'm curious about how you go about conceptualizing a film if it's not a story and it's not a script. Like, I know it comes from an image or an idea, but how do you work mapping out this film kind of in your mind? How does it progress or form?
It's always the hardest question, because there's never a good time to talk about that. While you do it, you don't want to talk about it. While you shoot, it's too late. And after the film, you forgot how it started. But what I meant by not being a storyteller is I don't go from A to Z. I'm incapable of that. As I said, let's say about what I just said about Isabelle finding this actress, Katia Golubeva, and this war in Bosnia is like, through the experiences you have, not so many are important. So you work with these feelings or experiences, maybe in a way like a composer, like partition, a score, musical score. You know that there you want this feeling, and there you want this. It's not always a precise feeling. It's sometimes quite musical, and you write a kind of score that is maybe vague, but you know how. And then, of course, it's got to move between these different feelings, and that's a bit more like constructing a story. But frankly, I don't remember more than that.
Anyone else? Yes.
I was really interested in what you said about dance, and I was wondering if part of the reason in picking Denis Lavant for the character was his movement. That seems to be a characteristic of him that sticks out in the films, the way that he moves around. And I was wondering if that is something that you choreographed with him, and with your other characters, especially in Bad Blood, or if that is something that came from themselves.
I'm going to repeat that question. It's about Leos's relationship to dance and specifically with the films that he made with Denis Lavant, who's the lead actor in his first 3 films, whether he chose him because of his ability to move the way that he does, which is extraordinary, and whether he choreographs those movements himself or whether he works it out with Leos.
When I met Denis Lavant, no, I didn't know. I didn't know how his possibilities, his capacities. In the first film, actually, that he's not very physical. Then for the second film, he trained a lot, and it was. It's I use a choreographer, but it's more someone who's going to work with the actors to train them physically and to give me lots of possibilities when I'm shooting. If I want them to do something, they know how to move and they're in good shape, let's say. After that, it's pretty much done together. We try things, and it's pretty simple. I've never done something very sophisticated in terms of dance. I would like to make a film with a woman dancer. It seems that all the films that have dance in them, and there aren't so many, but don't use anything from the last 30 years of the art of choreography. It's like old Broadway shows. It would be interesting to see someone move the way dancers can move today. But I am interested in dance, and I hope I'll make this film.
Any question? Yes?
I just wanted to say that I really like that Apollo X, and that I think that the story that it does tell is really a very contemporary story, but also really hard to tell. And I think I know it. To my own self and things that I've read, but I've never really seen. I've never seen anybody do it actually. So I just wanted to. I didn't really have a question, but I wanted to say thank you because I thank the Walker too, because I just think that it really is an amazing. A dealing with power. The ability to try and do that on film and to just tell the other story about what it is to live in the contemporary world. So I don't know. I just sort of went on, but I think that was really great. I think that is in literature, contemporary literature, that story, but I just have never seen it visually done like that at all. Anybody attempt to do it, so.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
It seems that in some of your films, or perhaps all of your films, that the sound design very interesting to me because it seems to have, in some cases, to have a very visceral, almost like expressionistic quality to it. And it seems to me that the sound design, maybe the sound effects or the Foley work, almost functions as in a musical sense and sort of reinforces or has some kind of narrative qualities to it. Would you agree with that, or is that something that you consciously design in your films?
I think I have a few talents. I found out when I started to make films because I didn't know anything. There are a few things that are kind of organic, I can do without, which are sound, music. I love to work with it, and it doesn't seem too laborious.
Laborious.
Editing is another one that's pretty close to music too. And there are maybe one or two other talents. Where it's nice to find out you have a talent when you don't know you have it.
Would you agree that one of your talents is for rendering speed?
For what?
Speed, just sheer velocity on screen. It's hard for me to think of other films that do it so forcefully.
It comes from the opposite, the feeling of being so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when I started, at the same time I discovered films, I started to read Céline, this French writer.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was old, he was asked what would he say before he died. Nice question. And he said, in French, he said, ils étaient lourds les hommes, which I would know. Ils étaient lourds les hommes.
Men were heavy.
Yeah, he would say it. And I do feel it's true how heavy we are in every sense. I mean, I'm talking about the beautiful lightness, not the superficial lightness. And I feel my films are much too heavy. And I guess the characters feel heavy too, and they're always trying to find speed or l'élan. L'élan.
To fly?
To what?
To fly?
L'élan is, let's say when someone, an athlete wants, when they do these athletes who
Pole vault over.
I mean, anything to take speed, when you, the time, not to go fast, but the time where you start from zero to build speed.
To build, accelerate. Right.
Accelerate, yeah. That is a nice word in French. And this is what's so hard to do in life, and I feel that you've got to do it again and again, because you can't take speed and then go on, going faster and faster, and then you fall, and then you have to believe you can try again at every age, and start again. And, so there is an incredible joy in real speed, not speed like you see it today, like click clack, like in most films, but to find a real sensation of movement. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Another question? Yes.
Talk a little bit about the factory set situation in Pola X, the musicians, and just that situation and how it evolved.
In the Melville book, the two characters end up in a kind of religious community, just like a cult. But again, it's not a book I ever really understood. This book, I think if I had understood it, I wouldn't have done the film. And one aspect which is important in the book, I guess, is that Pierre is considered like a sort of Jesus Christ, like an immature hero who wants to do well and who's ready to sacrifice himself. But of course, he's too small, so he falls in. And I felt I was unable to show a religious community. I just don't know anything about religion, but I thought what I could maybe show is that even though Pierre escapes his castle, his mother, and more than that, to follow Isabelle or to save Isabelle, we don't really know. He still needs, he's still a young, immature man who needs kind of the figure of a father or something, and so they go to this place where we don't really know. It seems maybe it's a fascist community or terrorists, though we don't know what happens. What's important is that he's kind of fascinated by the chief, and he's, we imagine, influenced by this character.
We probably have time for one more question. Yes.
In Lovers on the Bridge, Michelle makes this movement from sort of a very comfortable class, right, or leisure life, to, what she sees, I guess, as the hardest life physically that she could imagine. And Pierre makes the same sort of movement, I guess, at a different speed. But I'm wondering how you see that movement, why you see that movement as important, that direction. Why are you curious about that jump?
I think for many reasons. One is it's what you put into films. As I said, I never answer. It's more questions, and it's questions and fears. Personally, most of my nightmares are falling apart, not being able to walk anymore, not being like these homeless people who are on the sidewalk and who are completely confused and have nothing left, nobody, nothing. The other thing is the relation you have with your origin. For a rich person or for someone who comes from a comfortable background. Or for a poor person, whatever. There's both, at one point in life, hate for this origin, and there's a need to destroy this and to rebuild something of your own. All that's just pretty naive. It usually happens to younger people. As I say, you find out that your origin is not only your father and your mother. There's much more to it. But since I'm telling stories about young people in all these films, even though this film is the only first film I've made where the main character is younger than me. Pierre is probably 10 years younger than me. So there is some kind of, it's not irony, and there's much more irony in the book. I'm not good with irony, but there is a look at a younger man and at his immaturity. I think it's both brave and I'd rather people who do that, who escape whatever they were given, to find something of their own, even if there's something naive in it, and if it doesn't work, I mean, they usually come home very fast. He's a young bourgeois. He tries to do well, you know, but he's not ready. He's not ready to support himself and a family.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming.